Hi, it's Mark Leon from GBC Live. Today we have Skycoin people, and you want to guess who they are. Since as a founder, as one of those founders of Skycoin, also we have William as coming from marketing department, marketing and communication.
Project management.
Yeah, and project management. So, okay guys, we want to go for Skycoin. What is it? I mean, we heard that the Skycoin is a kind of big and giant platform that is going to have a big change in blockchain industry. What that is and how you define that?
So there's a lot of within blockchain. There are different types of things. So one of them, you see a lot of ICOs, or this coin, this coin's doing this, or this coin's doing that, but there's only maybe 5 or 6 platforms, and the platforms are what people are launching coins on, and what blockchain applications are actually built upon. They're the foundational layer, and Skycoin is one of the maybe 6 or 8 blockchain platforms in the market. And so one of the things in Skycoin, like, we have our own blockchain technology, we have our own consensus algorithm, then we have our own scripting language for people to write the logic for the business applications. And we have a platform called Fiverr, which allows businesses to have their own blockchain for their applications. So we're basically one of the companies providing the platforms that these blockchain applications are being built.
How long ago the Skycoin has been built? It was like 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
No,
like
7.
7, yeah.
Yeah, about 7.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was
Almost
pretty
as old as
early.
Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then from where? I mean, you were in state, or where it comes from?
Globally, we have developers in China, Russia, United States, Europe, every continent. It's just a global project.
What was the reason that it came up with Skycoin? I mean, definitely you saw there are some things, some stuff are missing, that you said, okay, let's go for Skycoin.
So when Bitcoin was developed, many of the early developers called it a social experiment, and none of them actually believed that Bitcoin was going to survive this long. And like a lot of the early people were surprised when Bitcoin hit $1, and were shocked when Bitcoin hit $1,000, because there was like a 4 or 5 year period where Bitcoin was essentially worthless. It wasn't even in use as money. There was no exchange, and it was just a small community of people trading coins back and forth, and it was like monopoly money. And I don't think any of the early people thought that blockchain would become as big as it did, or that Bitcoin would be in the position that it is today. I think every single early Bitcoin developer expected Bitcoin to fail, and they still think it's going to fail. But it's a question of when and why. And so you could have a technology like MySpace, and it can dominate for 5 or 6 or 7 years, and then it implodes, and then Facebook comes in. And that's really normal. People say the first mover advantage, but it's actually very rare for the first company in any market to dominate that market. It's more common for the majority of companies, for a company to come in the market, they're at first place, and then they implode for internal reasons, and then the next, because they're the first company to succeed in the market, but they don't know why they were successful. And that's really the position I think Bitcoin is in. So when we started on Skycoin, what we saw was that, for instance, Bitcoin code base is a train wreck. It's a train wreck, and there's all these edge cases that are very difficult for people to understand, and that have caused a lot of money to be lost. And the network's very slow. It takes 1 hour to sometimes do transactions, 20 minutes, and there were all these security issues, and the usability was extremely poor. Even today, it's still very difficult for people to use Bitcoin. And so we had 3 different projects that merged into becoming what is Skycoin today. And all of those projects were addressed at improving Bitcoin's usability, getting the transaction time down to 1 second, so that you can buy a cup of coffee with the cryptocurrency, Like if you buy coffee with Bitcoin, you wait 20 minutes, you wait an hour for your transaction to clear. So we want 1 second transaction time. So we want to build a blockchain platform that was faster than credit card transactions, something that could compete with Alipay or could compete with Apple Pay, and which could be used in stores and could be used at the point of sale. We wanted to fix the use cases, these edge cases that caused a lot of problems in Bitcoin. So I remember when banks started looking at Bitcoin, they were very excited about it, and then they saw this thing called signature mutability, and they're like, they got scared, and they're like, "There's dragons, like your ship's on the ocean, right?" And you think it, and then some sea monster comes and wipes out your ship, and you didn't know there's sea monsters in the ocean. You know, it's so there's risks that are known, risks that can be quantified, and that can be hedged. And then there's unknown risks. And the banks know, like, oh, we can have a chargeback. We can have this. This can happen. This can happen. They can enumerate the risk and they can plan for it. But Bitcoin, for the banks, has unknown risks. And every time they think they understand it, there's another curveball gets thrown at them. And so that's why a lot of financial institutions and institutional investors and like family offices have been hesitant about adoption of these cryptocurrencies because they don't know like what's going to happen next or what. So with Skycoin, we tried to design a platform that basically eliminated the unknown risks and reduced the risk to a definable set so that the risk could be known. And then and then later on we started building a blockchain platform to adopt Skycoin for businesses, and so we have over 30 companies now launching blockchain applications on the platform.
And with the known and the unknown risks, that's like the first mover advantage. Bitcoin gets the whole first mover advantage in that it gets very big and gets popular over time. But the first mover, you can guess when you're planning it out, okay, I think this will be a problem, I think this will be a problem, here's my solution to it, but it's never been tested before, you don't know. The late mover advantage, conversely, is you've seen it now, you know, okay, that is the problem, that attempt at solving it does or doesn't work, and you can actually look at that, figure out what you need to do and do it.
Is it something that is a kind of a better or, let's say, complete version of Bitcoin?
The successor to Bitcoin. I think when Bitcoin fails, inevitably that something like Skycoin is going to replace it. And I think, and whether that's Skycoin or another coin, because the technology moves very quickly, and any innovation that one coin makes, another coin is of course going to adopt very quickly. And I don't actually see the market in terms of competition, however, because what you have is you have Bitcoin and it brings people into the market, and then you have people then start using Ethereum, then they start writing smart contracts, then they do an ICO, then it fails, and they do another ICO, then they go and they work for a business, a power company, to start integrating blockchain into that business unit. Then they find their own like database consultancy. So there's like multiple generations in the community, and everyone is sort of working together to sort of push the blockchain technology out. And I don't, there's not anything like competition. Everyone is very specialized, and you're doing this, we're doing this, you're doing this, and I couldn't say that. But what will happen is when Bitcoin. So the biggest issue with Bitcoin, one of the biggest issues, is when Satoshi developed Bitcoin. When he designed it, he intended to create a centralized cryptocurrency, and it turns out Bitcoin today is controlled by 3 mining pools. So Bitcoin is not decentralized. So everyone thinks Bitcoin is decentralized, but the reality is Bitcoin is controlled by 3 mining pools that are forced to buy their ASIC from one company, which is Bitmain. And we saw this very early on. There was actually one mining pool in Ukraine or Kiev, Damascus, somewhere in that area. And they had over 60% of the hashing power of the Bitcoin network. And their ASICs were produced by this company called Star Fury. And this was very early on. We saw one company had already achieved over 60%, maybe even 70% of the Bitcoin hashing power. And they were hiding their hashing power in other pools, mining pools, so that people didn't panic. So Satoshi said, this is going to decentralize the database. And his solution did not actually work. It didn't achieve decentralization because human factors like greed and the need for profit and things ended up sort of corrupting what he originally intended to do. And so we had to spend 4 years just doing academic research to design a new consensus algorithm to basically replace the foundation of Bitcoin with something else. And so I think there's going to be a lot of waves of technological disruption where you have these coins and they're spending $600 million a year on mining costs, and they're throwing all this money in the pit and burning it, and they're spending all this money on their mining equipment, and then someone like Skycoin comes along and we have a new algorithm, And it's like, why are you spending $600 million a year? You're just burning money. And the people are going to say, hey, wait, why did they even do that? That doesn't make any sense. And so we're going to go through phases in blockchain where, for instance, right now, most coins are being launched on ERC20 on Ethereum. And people look back and they say, well, why do I run my blockchain if it costs hundreds of thousands a month? Why did I just do it on Ethereum? And then, so people want a coin, but they don't want to have the cost of running the blockchain doing consensus, so they outsource it to Ethereum. Now we're in a third, and so all these clones of Bitcoin died basically and were replaced by ERC20 tokens. Now in the third generation, in Skycoin, in Ethereum, people are paying $6 a transaction. So companies are coming to us and they're saying, why are we going to pay $6 a transaction to Ethereum? We want our own blockchain. We don't want Ethereum blockchain. So then those companies come to us, and then we give them their own block. So we have a platform, Fiber, and we give every company their own blockchain. And each blockchain is 10 times faster than Ethereum. So Ethereum only does 30 transactions a second. And each of our companies on our blockchain, or their own blockchain, are doing 300 transactions a second.
You don't charge them as well for any
No,
transaction.
and it's free.
There's no fee issue, and then additionally, there's no issue of having to share, because I can't say private blockchain because that's different terminology. People will get thrown off. It's not private blockchain, it's just an individual blockchain. If I'm a company and I set up one on Fiverr, I'm not sharing it with
100,000
everything
other
else.
applications.
And so anything else running on Fiverr or Skycoin or whatever cannot in any way interrupt what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Whereas on Ethereum right now, they have the fee issue, and then they have the issue of things totally irrelevant to them screwing up their world.
Yeah, and this company causes a bug, and it starts affecting your company, or there was an error in some script, and you get your money stolen because of something that was completely unrelated to it. So so we had the first generation Bitcoin, second generation with these smart contract platforms,
and the third generation you got a
personal blockchain,
which you're gonna have it by Skycoin.
Yes.
So it seems that Skycoin is a kind of big platform, is a kind of comprehensive platform. It's like a kind of, let's say, ecosystem that whoever wants to do whatever related to cryptocurrencies or blockchain, they can get into your platform, it seems. I mean, because I've seen that you have hands in many other areas. So, I mean, many other areas in blockchain. It's not only about one area that you go for it. And you have a kind of ambitious plan, a big plan, and how you want to make it happen, how it is. Because this is first, and now I just want to go for the definition. Still, we are in definition of Skycoin. We want that our viewers, our audience, they understand what exactly Skycoin is. Then based on that, we get into detail what is the Sky Hour is, what is Skywire is, and so on, and how people or companies, they can reach to you or how they can cooperate with you in any way. So Skycoin is a kind of ecosystem, for anyone who wants to get into this world.
Well, it's more fun. So people see these projects, like they see we're doing video games, and they see that we're doing like power grid companies and solar grid company, and we're doing a decentralized ISP.
I mean, all these companies, they have their ICO on their Skycoin.
Their own blockchain, their own platform. So they see we're doing like privacy coin, we're doing new consensus algorithm, we're doing this and that and that, and it looks like a lot of things. And sometimes they look unrelated, but what you have to ask is what is blockchain? People don't. Once you understand what blockchain is, then you understand why we're doing what we're doing. And blockchain is actually just a database.
Exactly.
So our perspective is that blockchain is going to inevitably be used anywhere that an existing database is used. So video streaming, messaging apps, gambling, sports betting, poker, file sharing, synchronizing files. You see, like Filecoin, and so so all these things are completely related because anything that uses a database now is going to be rebuilt on top of blockchain. So we want to be the platform that the foundation that those applications are going to be built upon. And one of the interesting things is there's messenger coin, and you want to send a message, one coin, and here's Filecoin. You want file storage, here's your Filecoin, and there's 15 Filecoins. There's like Sia Coin and Filecoin and some other. There's like 15 of them. I can't even remember the names. And then there's 25 smart contract platforms. You want to do smart contracts, you're over here. Your file storage over there. Your messenger coins over there. You want to download porn? There's a porn coin. You want to
whatever coin.
Yeah. Do you really want 10,000 coins? Are you gonna messenger coin, file coin, bandwidth coin, server coin? Like we would just want to create one coin, and we want the platform to be useful. And we don't see that this proliferation of these useless ICOs for like widgets. I call them widget coins personally, or app coins. They're app coins. So someone's like, "Oh, this app coin. They're doing Messenger coin. Are you scared of Messenger?" I'm like, "I don't. It's just an app on our platform. We have 15,000 apps. It's like asking if some website where you can post photos is competing with Facebook, they have a Messenger app. Are they competing with Google? Is widget Messenger, we message competing with Google? It's a sort of a senseless question, because what we're really focused on is building this foundation, and then we have 100 apps so we don't even just have one power grid app. We have like 6 companies doing blockchain power grid, and which one's going to win, which one's going to be a standard. We have companies on our own platform competing with each other. Not even so for us, this idea like, are you concerned about this competitor? I'm like, they're competing with an app on our platform, and we have 3 apps doing the same thing they do but doing it better. On our platform, the foundation is better, and so I'm like, okay, they're on Ethereum. Their transactions will be $6. Our transactions are free.
Yeah, this app is they are providing services to your own
users.
Communities, or they can just provide that service to others who are in other communities.
Well, it doesn't have to be our own. If someone does a mesh. Like a grid on blockchain, power grid on blockchain, and they're doing energy trading. Well, they don't have to be solely servicing the Skycoin community. You could have never heard of Skycoin in your entire life and be wherever in the world using that platform. It's not just you do it on Skycoin, you do it for the Skycoin community. It's just you're building with our tech.
We have multiple communities. Like the Skycoin community already has 8,000 people on Telegram, and it's growing at 1% per day. So every day it's like another 70 people. It's growing so fast. We have over 15 channels on Telegram now just for Skycoin, like Skycoin support, Skycoin memes, Skycoin trader, Skycoin, because there's just too many people. So they're fragmented. And then some of our coins on our platform, their community, like 3,000 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, 20,000 people. So we're almost up at 100,000. We might be at 100,000 people for the aggregate community. And by the end of next year, that might be 1 million people. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing every day. And all these coins on our platform are also bringing in more people. So if you go to it, like you go to one of Ethereum's conventions, you see there's 500 developers, and they're each doing a different project. And so we really were inspired by the way that Ethereum built up their development community and just how many people were developing their apps. And then we were listening to the problems that they had and complaints, and they're trying to prototype their app, but they're paying $5 transaction fee, or Kitty Cash caused network congestion, and their pilot project shut down for 2 days.
Kitty Cash is ours.
Oh, Kitty Cash, I can't even give this straight.
Let's simplify. I go through a kind of example. I say, let's say I'm my company. I get into your platform. You're helping me tokenize whatever service I'm providing to my client.
Well, that's the easiest use case.
It doesn't have to be tokenized.
Most companies do not actually need a token. So like a power grid company wants to do billing, so a token makes a lot of sense for them. And it can be a free floating token, or it could be a peg token. If you want to do gift cards on blockchain, they're non-fungible. So this gift card's $50, that's $25, and they have different expiration dates. Options and futures are non-fungible. Bonds have different maturity dates. So we also have non-fungible digital assets. So we're not just doing fungible coins, we have non-fungible digital assets. So there's going to be companies that are building whole businesses just around non-fungible digital assets. And then also there's companies that don't need non-fungible digital assets. They don't need tokens either. They're just using blockchain as a database for inventory and payroll and accounting, and doing more traditional ERP system and like tracking food, supply chain information.
So there is, I think from what I see, it got to 3. Also, you're helping companies, they can raise funds. Well, we call it like ICO, whatever, under your platform, that they can have it. So, and then let's say tokenized, let's say also those companies, even they can use your technology for any functions and any task that they have for their everyday process of or procedures of their services that they have. So is there anything else that it can cover Skycoin for those companies to get in?
I think that the fundraising is the thing people are most excited about because they see these guys raising $100 million. Like, I want $100 million, and they get like all this money, and they don't have to do anything for it. So that there was a lot of focus on the ICOs, and there was a point where you could raise $20 or $30 million by yourself, one-person companies raising $100 million ICOs. And like I think Neo, we talked to them, and they were 3 people. It was just some guy writing articles on Medium, and their whole marketing team was 3 guys. And it's like,
that's great.
And you can raise $100 million. So without a real company, but a lot. So we do have that, but I think the ICO craze is over. I have a lot of companies contacting me, and they're dying. Like, they're out of money. They can't raise more money. Marketing is getting a lot harder. It's sort of getting crowded. And the companies we see coming in now is like, there's this billionaire, and he's going to dump $200 million in this medical company, and he wants to do a coin as a marketing stunt, or he wants to issue like reward point loyalty program, or this airline wants to put their reward points on blockchain so they can buy and sell them and give them to gifts to people, and so they want the assets to be exchangeable. And so we're really seeing existing businesses that have revenues in the hundreds of millions of dollars a year, like 10,000 employees. Those companies are now publicly traded companies. Those companies are now this year moving into blockchain, and so the ICOs are dying, and blockchain is definitely becoming more corporate.
The companies we're seeing coming to us are much more so, if they're doing a token, it's because they have a really, really pragmatic use for it, and it actually has nothing to do with fundraising.
Yes.
Or they're not even doing a token. We do have some that are doing it for fundraising, doing ICO, but a lot of them are really not even concerned with that at this point. Like, you can only have so long a time where it's just like fucking trivial to do a 20, 30 million raise on nothing.
So based on your business model that you have, I mean, now you're saying that, okay, there is no any charge fee for any transaction. There is no any kind of charging policy from whoever.
It's an open platform.
Is it going to be only for this 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years? Once it goes crazy, like Skycoin goes bigger and bigger, do you consider you want to have kind of monetizing the process?
So we're basically a consortium. So there's like 30 companies, and this company is paying for this developer, and that company is paying for this developer, and each company develops and funds the infrastructure that they're using, and then we manage it. So we're sort of like a nonprofit or a consortium model, and Skycoin is an open platform, and there are some revenue generating things, like we do make money on hardware sales, and we have an exchange also, and we have 6 or 8 partners that want to launch exchanges in their country, but they don't want to develop the software and deal with the bugs. So we're developing one software platform, and then they deal with local registration, regulatory, KYC. And one of the really interesting things for us is, like, we're providing a hardware wallet, and if you launch your coin on our platform, from day one you get a mobile wallet, a desktop wallet, a web wallet, a hardware wallet, and exchange listing on I think over 12 exchanges. So 8 of our exchange partners, and then 4 exchanges here. And so from day one, you launch your coin, next day you're on all these exchanges.
You're a kind of shortcut for those who cannot easily get to in exchanges platform.
It's not a shortcut, but here's the problem. If you did an ICO on Ethereum, you raised $150 million,
then
you're not getting on an exchange.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They want $20 million sometimes for listing these coins.
Yeah.
There's 100 coins doing an ICO every month, and only 3 or 4 of them are getting listed on the big exchanges. And so these coins do the ICO, and then the investors can't sell the coins. They have to dump them, or it's just a train wreck, because it can take 2 years now to get your coin on these exchanges. So when they come to us and like, oh, you can do that immediately. Oh, I don't have to wait 4 years. Or I don't have to pay $20 million. I don't. We don't have to develop our own mobile wallet. These are just things that we provide, and the companies need that. And if they're actually going to use these coins for some type of business function, often they'll want to run their own internal exchange, and we have the software for doing that. And they want to get listed. So one of the things we could do, and another one of our profit centers, is we're going to be doing market making. So we actually invest in a lot of the ICOs on our platform. So we set up the ICO, we invest in them, we get them listed on the exchange, and we make our profits on the coin actually succeeding. So we don't actually charge money for.
Skycoin itself, it has its own exchange platform.
Which it hasn't been launched yet, but it
hasn't been launched yet. But in another side, that you are in many exchanges platform. Yeah?
Yes.
So those then, if any company get under your platform, or using your blockchain, they're going to be part of
automatic listing on several third-party exchanges also.
Third-party
and first-party.
The first party. It means that, let's say, company XYZ get into Skycoin platform, so it's going to get into other exchange platforms.
So what's really interesting is there's a lot of institutional money trying to go into crypto, and so the retail clients like, I heard of Bitcoin, I heard of Ethereum, get us crypto, we want some crypto, we want 4% of our portfolio in crypto. But legally, these investment firms are unable to offer crypto products to Bitcoin and Ethereum are not, and even Ripple are not investment grade. They're basically completely speculative assets. If people see Bitcoin buying and selling for $10,000, they assume it's $10,000, but there's no underlying asset backing Bitcoin, and it's in an area of regulatory ambiguity. So we have this exchange in Luxembourg, and their parent company is a $20 trillion Forex broker for like BlackRock investment, and they run the Forex accounts for all the major investment firms and sovereign wealth funds. And they have a subsidiary that is just a blockchain platform, and they want commodity-backed crypto. They're asking, can you put rice on blockchain? Can you put wheat on blockchain? Can you put soybean futures on blockchain? Can you put metals on blockchain? Silver, gold, rare earth metals. Can you do mineral? So we're starting to. They're saying, bring us these companies. We want these companies. So we had a company not even before ICO, and I said, you want them? They're like, yeah, get them over here, because their institutional investors are just hounding them to get them something that is a commodity-backed crypto or something that they can sell to their institutional investors, which are demanding some type of allocation or exposure into the crypto market. So when on Skycoin, we had this, they gave us like this integration document, which is 200 pages. We had 6 developers working over 4 months now, and the document keeps changing and changing and changing. And then once we get that specification implemented, every other Skyledger coin will instantly be interoperable with that exchange. So if they decide to list them, it's not going to be an 8-month process. They're going to just be able to flip the switch in 1 hour because we already have a full team maintaining the integration. So one of the things we're working on is blockchain interoperability, which is the ability to do swaps between assets on different blockchains, decentralized exchange, the ability to swap assets without a third party, and also ensuring that there's a dedicated support team that ensures that if you want to launch this exchange and the guy says yes, that the API is already integrated, and that so we're.
Let's get to those Sky craziness that you have. Like, what is a Sky Hour, and what is then after? Definitely, we are so interested to hear. About the Skywire as well. What is it? Decentralizing internet. So let's go for a Sky Hour. What is it?
So there's a Skycoin Hour. So we didn't want to charge transaction fees. So if you hold Skycoin, you're getting paid these things called coin hours. And if you have 1 Skycoin in your wallet for 1 hour, you get 1 Skycoin coin hour, and then you use it to purchase services like bandwidth and storage and computation. So it replaces Siacoin or Filecoin or Substratum or IPFS and then Golem. So we have 18 coins, and I don't need those anymore. Just use these coin hours.
So you have all these coins under the platform itself.
One currency with multiple services.
Multiple services, but also those multiple services are assumed as a coin, which you can spend them internally in your platform. Yes.
So we assume if you're providing resources to the network, you should get paid. And if you consume network resources, you should get paid. So if you're providing like packet forwarding and network services, people pay you coin hours, and if you are consuming the services, then you pay coin hours. So if a company needs 100 gigabytes of bandwidth of storage to store their files, their backups, their logs, they can encrypt it, and then they can split the data up over 1,000 computers, and then pay the people this many coin hours per hour to store their data. And so they don't have to buy all these hard drives and install it. The application just farms it out. And
how they can have the exchange? How they can exchange the Sky Coin Hour? So they can get the Sky Coin itself, and
then they automatically generate coin hours.
Yeah.
But the coin hours actually can be used to buy back Sky coins. So people are buying
Sky.
Yeah. So you can generate a return by installing storage or installing servers, and then renting them out to other people on the network, and receive coin hours, and then you use the coin hours to buy back Skycoin, and so you get more Skycoin in your wallet.
So this is the only purpose of a Sky Coin Hour, or there was there was some other reasons that you came up with this guy.
There's a lot of different reasons. It's like the gas in the network. So if I have 5,000 smart contracts and this guy's hogging all the resources, he has to pay coin hours. And if the resources become scarce, the price goes up. So the coin hours are a way of allocating resources between network participants in a fair way. So it says, here's the rules of the game, and it prevents one person from hogging all the resources of the network. It allows you to allocate the resources, and if a resource becomes scarce, then the price goes up, and people come and provide more of that resource, or else people start paying more money for the resource. So it's about creating a market with supply and demand and a clearing price, so that if bandwidth becomes scarce, people start installing more capacity to get the coins. And if there's too much bandwidth, then you get less money, and people stop investing in that. So it's a way of allowing the network to allocate resources in an efficient way.
Right. William, do you think that there are kind of similar platform like Skycoin in the market?
Similar platform to Skycoin.
Yeah. Is it?
Well, we were talking earlier, right? I think there are different
Niche,
things in the market that, and he was saying this earlier too, that apply to specific things we have, that apply to specific applications.
It's not the whole comprehensive.
Is there anything doing? I mean, there are a handful of platforms that are trying to do a really comprehensive thing, and they're all going about it in pretty similar ways. And then they have varying levels of adoption, with obviously Ethereum being biggest, far and ahead. And then, so you could say that those are similar platforms, but I really don't think they're doing the same thing ultimately.
I think what Skycoin is doing that is like kind of a statement we say you have all in ones. So that's the kind of things that instead of let's say like WeChat in China,
it does everything.
It does have everything, but this is not irrelevant. They're all relevant. I want to pay somebody, I can easily transfer to that person because I have his account, whatever. I want to do, I don't know, call or I want to just call a service, whatever I do in one platform. It really saves my time and resources as well. So let's say, but in a bigger scale, in a kind of corporate level and doing operation and so on, let's say in crypto world, Skycoin can be one of those most comprehensive platform. What I haven't seen any similar platform than Skycoin, but if it's Skycoin goes up, I mean, it getting famous, your community go up, and you have a lot of users, it would be one of the most perfect platforms. How do you manage the user community?
What do you mean manage the user community?
Last year, 11 months ago, right? Skycoin was at $4 million. 11 months, it's already over 155 million. So it went from 4 million to over 150 million in less than a year. And so we're actually just 1 year from the public launch. And the user growth, how do you manage the growth? How
do you manage the growth, and what is your policy? For example, let's say, yes, we want to bring more companies under our platform, or we want to do this. What are those policies that you guys have for?
Well, if we get people, we have a lot of people who come into our Telegram chat room.
So we want this, we want to do this,
right? They want to do everything.
We can't help them.
We can't manage everything. If people are really coming to us and they have an idea, we try and spend as much time as we can looking at that and going, can we help with this? Like, we definitely want to encourage it.
Yeah, we're growing 1% per day, and the growth rate it's impossible. I have 20 companies like a week messaging me and say, I want to do that and that. Okay, I'm saying, do you have a marketing team? Can you market it? Can you raise money for it? Do you have funding? If you don't have funding, can you raise funding? And then I ask them, do you have developers? If you don't have developers, then we have to do all the work, and we can't do that. So the ideal company for us is an existing company that has money, already has funding, or can do funding, has their own marketing, and has their own technical team. Nice. And if they don't meet those criteria, like if someone like, I want $100 million, can you please do my ICO for me? Can you market my ICO? Can you implement my coin? Can you do all the work so I can get $100 million doing nothing? I'm like, do you have a team? Because a lot of these people are just one person.
Yeah.
And So handling the growth is extremely difficult. When 1% per day growth is insane. Like I can't even.
Crazy.
Last month, I think I could remember the coins that were launching on our platform, and this month I keep forgetting. There's too many of them. Yeah. It's just like another ICO every day, another coin, another company, another partnership, another. People ask me, and I'm like, go talk to the business development guys because I don't know.
And also the team is blown up. Like we do the conference in Shanghai 3 weeks ago. I go up to this table of people I've never seen before in my life. I start talking to them a little bit. I'm like, so what do you guys do? They're like, oh, we work at Skycoin. I'm like,
we had a fire permit for like 300 people, and we had twice that showing up to the conference, and we thought that we were scared the fire department was going to come in and shut us down.
By the way, what do you do with this baby? It's called China. So, what is what is your policy? How it is
for China?
Yeah.
So China is the most interesting market for blockchain. So people say, oh, China banned Bitcoin, China banned Bitcoin. That's not true at all. Most of the exchanges are actually in China. Most of the user bases for the coins are in China or in Asia, like South Korea and Japan are huge markets. Yeah. For Vietnam, and there's probably more blockchain startups in Vietnam than there is in the whole United States. Because the SEC, bit license, regulatory uncertainty, and dealing with banks has actually chased out most of the companies from the United States, and they all moved to China. So the government's policy in China on blockchain is very pragmatic. The government sees blockchain as a technology that they have to develop and invest in. And the Chinese government has actually allocated several funds, including a fund that's over $20 billion for blockchain R&D and research and development. They're building whole cities that are going to be filled with researchers on AI, blockchain, and robotics and automation.
Where that's
in Hangzhou.
Not only
an hour train from here. They got Blockchain City now.
Blockchain City? Multiple blockchain cities.
I mean, it really is. I think
that's great.
I have a ton of people from, that I've met that aren't in China that ask, like, is China good? How can you be in China? They ban people. Well, China, I think, is probably the best country in the world, or one of them, for blockchain, because they have a very good stance towards it. They told ICOs to scram to a certain extent, but for the actual real, like when we're talking about, we have real companies that already exist who have really, really pragmatic uses of blockchain. There's massive support for that here.
Yeah. Some of those companies are state-owned enterprise or subsidized by the government. Like, for instance, one of Apollo Energy is one of their partners is the largest solar voltaic company in China that produces solar panels, and they're doing a pilot project in Australia for blockchain power meters, and so that they can export. The company will set up a development project and install solar over a whole town. They'll float a bond and then use the bond money to buy the company's own solar panels. So we're providing the technology, or providing the software, and then eventually the hardware to enable these types of pilot border control. And we're sort of. And Skycoin is actually in the Dubai Futures Association. The government invited us down there for 2 months, and we were looking at how to integrate blockchain with their border system, because Dubai's airport is the busiest airport in the world, and they wanted people to just be able to go right through without even stopping. So they just wanted a biometric data collection. You register and just walk right through without stopping out of the airport.
That's really good. I mean, this blockchain is helping to solve a lot of problems and eradicate a lot of barriers. But how is it? Let's say this is going to happen as a first pilot that you're doing.
That's not the only pilot. we just came back from London.
I mean, in terms of that specific functions that blockchain is doing, yes. I mean, this is kind of first pilot, yes?
Yes.
For that one. I hope it happens. Let's say it happens. Are they going to be under the whole ecosystem that you have?
Yes.
Are they going to be
everything's interoperable?
Connected? The government is okay that they are connected with other parts of other branches of your platform.
So what happens is, for a government cryptocurrency, they want to encourage investment. So they want to have an investor come in from Yunnan, and they want them to be able to invest money into the region, right? And to encourage investment, build up the country, build up infrastructure. But they don't want people using it to launder drug money, and they don't want it to black money. So if you have a government-controlled currency, it's different than Bitcoin. There's going to be KYC, and there's going to be passport registration, and the police are going to say, "Hey, you got black money." And then the government of China also wants to control money. So there's issues like cross-border currency flows. Like they'll move the black money out of the country and then move it back in, and then they want to be able to track that, because if they can't track it, then it cleans the money. So there's issue. You stole the money, you move it out of the country, then you move it back in, and if there's no paper trail, they can't track it. So government-backed cryptocurrency has requirements like KYC. The users have to be registered, and they have a different set of security requirements than the Bitcoin. So it's a different use case. But this is the reason that this technology is optimal for these cases is because you don't have a lot of money. It's not like the U.S. where people can spend $300 a year on banking fees.
Yeah.
These people don't even make $300 a year. So the question is, what is the cheapest way to get their identity registered, figure out who they are, and to get them a bank account? And those are the three most important things.
Nice.
And the blockchain allows us to do that for zero cost per user, to do it digitally, because everyone has a cell phone and they just install an app. And so the cost is extremely low. It's in like 1 cent a year or something, or 10 cents a year per user.
Let's. That was really awesome. I love.
That's not my favorite pilot project.
What is your favorite?
We just got back from London, and we talked to we're not sure if we can do this with World Bank, but we talked to the World Bank person for Africa. And what's very interesting in Africa is people in the rural villages are spending 50% of their income on cellular data. So their data plans. You have this rural person.
So expensive, yeah.
50%. These people are starving.
They have to spend
50% of their income on cellular data.
Oh,
so they're asking us, like, they're beating a path to they're like demanding that we get the Skywire hardware out there into Africa right now. And they're just coming into our chat room and demanding, hey, I want to do this in Kenya. I want to do this in Nigeria. I want to do this in Ghana.
Because what is the Skywire hardware? I mean, it's a kind of decentralized internet.
Yes.
Yeah. How is it decentralized internet? How it is? This is working through internal, like, let's say, it's kind of simulation, like LAN, or
it's it's a radio system, basically. Radio. And basically, if you provide resources to the network, if you're forwarding traffic for other people, you get paid coins.
Mm-hmm.
And if you consume the resources of the network, then you get paid coins. So you buy the equipment, you plug it in, and you start getting coins. So you make money.
And all those equipment, they are interconnected.
Yes.
There is no any third party above.
Well, it's a sort of federated system. There's no way to completely do it decentralized, but yes, it's more of a, instead of like one giant telecom owning all the equipment, the users own the equipment, and then you do bandwidth, and you exchange, you do settlement, and of course, when you have these systems, people are going to cheat, and you need dispute resolution and reputations and network configuration and map. It's not. I wouldn't say it's completely decentralized in the way that it's just magic. There's actually a lot of stuff that goes on in the background that you need to do. Like, some guy says that he gave all his bandwidth, but he hooked up 2 nodes and he's sending bandwidth to himself. And should he get paid for that? And how do you know if he's cheating? And so there's a bunch of issues with network operation and network planning. And
so you've been applying this Skywire hardware now.
We're going
to have it now, or it's not in the market?
The hardware is
shipping.
It's shipping, and it's in its first public iteration.
Yeah.
Is it you, the first company that you're doing that?
So mesh networking, this technology is very interesting. Gartner has said that mesh networking will be the emerging technology of the year for 15 years now.
15 years.
And it never happened.
It never happened because it's not economy.
It's to build a practical network requires an economic incentive. It requires hardware configuration.
Yeah.
It requires people on the ground willing to climb up on the roofs and to install the equipment. It requires factory. It requires logistics, coordination, community management, marketing. So you can have the technology for mesh networking, right? And you can have a pile of money, but it doesn't mean that you're going to succeed, because the social factors have to be there, the economic factors have to be there. So one of the things that we focused on for our project is we focused on the communities that really need it. Where we're not going to go to New York to some guy who already has Google Fiber and say, like, oh, you're going to go and do this, climb on your roof, do that. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
But
it's a toy for them.
Yeah, it's a toy. It's like, oh, this is cool tech. But you go to Africa, and these people are dying of malaria because they can't afford the malarial medicine because their cell phone data plan's too expensive, and they're my grandma's dying. I need the. Yeah. I just say, grandma, 50% of her income. So for them, it's really a life and death situation. It's a question of how do we provide this infrastructure to these third world communities. And then once we have that network infrastructure in place, we have people like World Bank, and they want to do microloans. So it's actually very funny. The people in China, they have all this money, or people in the U.S. have all this money, and people in Europe have all this money, but they put the money in the bank, and they're getting 0% interest or 1% interest. And they're saying, and then they go and they realize, hey, I can pay a farmer in Ghana $30, and he'll buy a cow or something, then he'll flip the cow, and they can make 30% interest cow flipping. So they have the UN rushing into the third world because they can make a 30% return on interest doing these micro investments. Yeah. Like third world cow farmer, like what? And then the World Bank is, yeah, we need your blockchain pilots, and so there's all these like what is that one? Kiva, KIVA. There's a huge microfinance company, and they say they're philanthropy, but it's really just but it's really philanthropy. But you look at the returns and the interest that they're making investing in these emerging markets. It's called emerging markets, and you can go into these markets and you can put $1 million in, and you get $50 million back in the first year if you can stop yourself from getting scammed. But the problem is there's no banks, no identity registration, no police, and no infrastructure, no water, no electricity, no internet. So when you come into a region and we provide network services, they can start building up the consumer credit, the identity registration. You can start building up reputation scores. We actually have a really good platform for building the infrastructure out in regions where that infrastructure doesn't exist. So and they say, philanthropy, we're helping the third world, but it's really like they want to make money, while improving the world and saving the poor and blah 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 blah. But it's really like 30% interest rates. Like you're not going to get that in Canada.
It's crazy, 30%. I mean,
yeah,
that's a kind of bad scam.
Yeah.
So the thing is now with Skycoin that you've been doing it. I heard about a kind of POS system that you were talking in your talk that you had. So what is POS system?
So POS is point of sale. So if eventually I'm going to go to the coffee shop and I'm going to be able to buy a coffee with Skycoin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, Dash. But this requires physical hardware. When I go and in China, all the payments are cashless. I go to a restaurant, they give me a bill, I say Jifuba, and like Madan, Jifuba, and they come in like Alipay, and they scan my QR code, and I make the payment. We have a terminal that you're going to scan your wallet on your phone, and you're going to be able to pay in crypto at any restaurant. And to do that needs a physical hardware system. Like you could write all the software in the world, but if it doesn't get into the point of sale, it's useless. So we're actually pushing adoption of Skycoin at the grassroots level, on the ground, at the coffee shop. And we have over 8 hardware projects right now preparing to launch. And the point of the Skycoin point of sale system is our way of doing mobile payments. And it integrates with our mobile wallet. And then our mobile wallet is a multi-wallet, so we're going to have multiple types of digital assets in that wallet. It's not just going to be Skycoin. So
POS is a kind of hardware for like selling and buying stuff.
Yes.
In any shops and so on. Let's say in that way. In that case, that every single shop that you have in any city in the world, so they have to have that hardware.
But we're going to get the price down to like $50. The terminal right now is over $1,000 for a Visa terminal.
Another thing, let's say I have a Skycoin, yes, I'm so happy. So if I get into all those shops, so I can buy whatever stuff that I can buy from those shops. So for this is okay, but how you want to convince those shops to have this? Because at the end, they themselves, they have to have a Skycoin account, or
no. It's completely. You just install the app and you have a wallet like that.
So you have a wallet.
You don't even do anything. You just install the app and you have a wallet. It's just like it's even easier than using Apple Pay. In Apple Pay, you have to go in and put in your credit card and do this and do that. In Skycoin, you just install it and you have a wallet and you can start accepting payments.
Yeah, okay. These wallets that we have, understandable, but those shops, they have to have their Skycoin wallet as well. Yeah.
You just install it in the App Store in like one click.
Yeah, they do that, but it's a matter of cashing out.
So for cashing out, we have exchange partners. And we have if you want to cash out, you want to check in your bank account. There's 40 companies that'll do that for you, and they'll take a 0.4%.
So they're all connected to that
And they're part of our consortium. So if you say, here's my wallet, we can have a button, and you press the button, you put in your card, and they'll send you the money to your card. So, and there's 100 companies that are fighting with each other to take that fee for doing that type of fiat exchange.
So do you think that you can have it in China? No.
In China, it's a very interesting situation. Yes and no. So China sort of tightly controls its domestic payment industry. I think that you're going to see Alipay and WeChat Pay are going to continue to be the dominant players, and that they're not. So, however, in Europe and Japan, you can already pay your utility bills in Bitcoin.
Nice.
So there's no barrier right now to say. So if you have Skycoin in your wallet, you can actually pay money to a Bitcoin address.
Yeah.
We have the infrastructure for doing that. So it's called Send to Bitcoin. So if you can hold your currency in any denomination you want, and you can make a payment in any denomination you want, and we have zero fee conversion in the middle. And you pay the transaction fee for Bitcoin, of course. So as long as that country supports one type of payment, like a Bitcoin payment or Ethereum payment or any Skycoin payment, you can make a payment from one currency into any other currency to settle that bill. So in Japan, done. There's no issue doing that. Philippines, Vietnam, South Korea, yes. And Europe has SEPA, which is SEPA.
The whole ecosystem together.
Yeah.
But under kind of integrated system that you built up, and they try to fill up one part.
They find a niche. Yeah, like if this company wants to do the like M-Pesa integration, they do that. And this company wants to send money to your US bank account, they do that. This company wants to handle SEPA transfers, they do that. This company wants to manufacture the POS system, they do that.
What about this media part?
we're actually probably starting like 2 or 3 internal media companies to do the marketing for the companies launching on the platform, because what we found is it's very difficult to find reliable marketing firms for launching these coins. It's just the market is there's just too many companies. Like you have to build your own marketing firm really if you want to.
Well, marketing and media, they're kind of overlapping some areas.
Not the same thing.
Yeah, they're not the same thing. So but you don't have any media partner in.
No, not yet. It seems like someone is going to be saying they want to be our media. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds.
You've interviewed MDL guys, right?
Yeah,
you're gonna meet the Paulo and this other guy. It's like 15 interviews in a row. You should do.
Yeah. That's awesome. So we started from definition and some great projects that Skycoin has on there. And now we want to come out from the Skycoin and go up and have a kind of macro perspective. If we want to look at the Skycoin and like other platforms, let's say IOTA, can we even compare them?
No, IOTA doesn't have a scripting language. They can't launch new blockchains. They don't have any of the infrastructure that a company needs to build anything on. They don't. That's like. IOTA is good for IOTA. It's good for the IOTA investors, but in terms of you can't build a company on IOTA. You can't. IOTA, if you're IBM or Microsoft, like, what is IOTA going to do for you? It's like so a lot of these. IOTA is an example of an interesting technology, which is the DAG technology. But personally, I think that Byteballs did the DAG better than IOTA did. But the market, IOTA has better marketing. So the market prices don't always reflect the.
But it says this is kind of different than blockchain. Yeah, it's using the Tangle method.
So what I see is the Tangle can be used for payments. It can't be used for smart contracts. And then you have another thing like Hashgraph. Hashgraph allows you to. It's supposed to be another blockchain alternative, but Hashgraph only works for private blockchains. It doesn't work for public blockchain. You couldn't build a Bitcoin or Ethereum on Hashgraph. It works for a company doing blockchain, but it doesn't work for a public blockchain. Skycoin is the only technology platform that covers both public and private and permission blockchains, and covers payments, non-fungible assets, and scripting language. We are the only company that has a platform that allows you to choose, okay, I want a permission blockchain with smart contracts and payments, or I want smart contracts but no token, or I want a public blockchain with smart contracts and no token and non-fungible assets, or I only want non-fungible assets and I want it to be private. So there's a matrix of 3 on this axis and 3 on this axis, and our platform allows the company to dial in what they need, and we can customize the blockchain for their application. There's no platform right now that even supports non-fungible digital assets and the way that we support them. And there's no platform that provides both public chains and private chains and permission chains in the same source code data, like in the same platform. So when you have a government, they need KYC for every person. Every person is identified. That's completely different than Bitcoin. And then you and the people who control it are a set of banks. Yeah. But the data might be public or it might be private. And then you have permission blockchains where only certain servers are allowed to join the network, and we support that also. And we support public chains like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we support fungible tokens like Bitcoin, and we support smart contracts, and we support non-fungible assets. But each feature is optional. It can be enabled or disabled depending on what the use case is.
So another comparison that I want to bring in this discussion is that can we say that you are kind of competitor of Ethereum?
No, Ethereum does not even. Ethereum, I think, Ethereum satisfies a small niche. Yeah. But the companies that are coming to us because they tried to use Ethereum and it didn't work. Yeah. It doesn't meet the requirements of their business.
In terms of transaction costs or in terms of the
transaction fees, speed, usability, ability to train up developers, concern about, say you're a power grid company and you're billing your customer and you have an error in your smart contract, and you get $30 million looted from your wallet, Ethereum's not going to help you. These companies say, well, we're going to get a class action lawsuit. They're going to sue us for $500 million. We have 300 lawyers in our company. We're a publicly traded utility company. And they tried to do a pilot on Ethereum, and they said, well, what if it breaks? What do? We get sued, and we lose $500 million. So they're saying, we need our own blockchain. They're not legally even allowed, basically, in the regulatory framework they're in, to operate on Ethereum. Yeah. So they come to us. Basically, so all the projects are prototyping on Ethereum. Then when they're ready to go into production, they're coming to us and leaving Ethereum. So I don't consider them to be even a competitor because they're not even doing the same thing that we're doing. They don't have a similar service offering.
Cool. William, do you think that Skycoin has the capacity, if big corporations coming to you and they want to use your technology, and let's say, I don't know if this term is correct or not, tokenize their services through your platform?
Well, we have the capability, but I mean, we talked about this earlier. Like, okay, can you use us to tokenize? Sure,
but that just takes 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it's like there are big companies that will come and say they want to do that, and again, typically what we've seen is that they are not doing that for fundraising purposes, but for very pragmatic purposes.
Yeah, pragmatic.
They already have plenty of money.
So
yeah, you can tokenize, but it's just, okay, it's this little thing.
You had a question. Is it better that they do by themselves, they have a kind of department, or it's good to get to you?
So at the beginning of the banks came in the blockchain, they have an innovation office. And the innovation office, they say, we want to do a pilot. And then you do this little app form widget. And then the guy signs his PowerPoint and he looks good. He does a presentation. Oh, here, I did six innovation initiatives this month. And that's what he gets graded on. How many innovation initiatives did you? And then the bank throws the pilot in the trash and they don't use it. We don't deal with those companies. We're focused, like Ethereum signed a bunch of insurance companies doing pilots, and you can do pilots all day and night. We're focused on companies that are actually using blockchain in their core business, that are going to go and use blockchain in production and make money on blockchain or simplify an existing business process using blockchain. So we're trying to get blockchain into the real world, and if they come to us with these pilots, we say, go talk to Consensus. I don't do this. But we have time. Like we have 60 projects coming to us, and you have a month, and we can only choose the best projects. And those projects we choose projects that are going to build new infrastructure that builds a platform.
Right. If we have a guy, like, we'll have people come in Telegram, and they say, I'm in South Africa, or I'm in Kenya, and I want this many sky miners to do this, and I'm going to do it immediately. We don't have any time,
but he's
more likely to put time into that guy than someone wanting to come to a PR stop and do a pilot.
Yeah, it's just for a lot of these companies are signing partnerships, and they just sign, oh, we need a partnership, everyone's announcing partnerships, and then they don't do anything.
Yeah.
When we partner like university, we're doing hackathons, we're training students, each student is going to deliver a blockchain application in 3 weeks, they're going to do a blockchain course, this professor's in charge, then this department, each student's going to do a project, and they're going to deliver a project. And then that project might be the basis of a larger project or an ICO, or it might fund them into an independent company later. Or we might have that student go work for another company that's developing on the platform in order to build out their application. So we're mostly focused on getting things done. And I think we're past this AppCoin stage. I think in the next year we're going to see 80 or 90 of the coins in the top 100 are just going to implode. Because people are going to ask, is Messenger coin really worth $1 billion? If I could just clone Ethereum, why is Ethereum worth 40 billion? If I could just clone Ethereum and launch my smart platforms on that, why is this coin worth 60 billion? If I could just copy and paste it and run it myself, why am I going to run my app on Ethereum if I can run it on my own blockchain for free instead of paying them $6 a transaction?
Yeah.
Why am I going to use their chain if running my own chain is 10 times faster? So there's these questions that are about usability and the business use case, and
so my last concern is this giant and big platform that you're having now is what is the organizational structure and how all these things can be managed?
We're a consortium, so if you're a power grid company, you're managing your power grid. If you're a bank, you're managing your bank project. You're an insurance company, you're managing your insurance project. You're doing an ICO, you're managing your ICO. We don't manage that.
Yeah.
I don't come in and I'm going to code your ICO for you. Here's the software, here's how you set it up, here's what you have to do. We give them a list, and then hire people and do it. And if they don't have their own resources, if they want us to do all the marketing for them and to bring them developers and get them $100 million without doing anything on their part, they can screw themselves. We're not babying your company. Hire your own tech support, hire your own developers, figure out what your app needs to do, and then implement it. Right? So how do we manage it? Is we don't. That's why we've been so successful. Is we don't take on these projects that need to be babied.
We encourage them, and
We're
glad to have them, but we're not building it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like a kind of
App Store. It's a consortium.
Yeah.
It's like the App Store, yeah.
Yeah, and you have all those companies that they have different functions, which they are providing different
within the ecosystem.
Within the ecosystem, which they are bringing value for the ecosystem itself, also out of the ecosystem. And they have the kind of attraction and magnet that suck other companies into your ecosystem. And the more the community gets bigger, the better and the more attractive it's going to be. And what do you see in future the barrier if the companies, they want to get into your platform? What would be the barrier? The barrier could be the high cost. The barrier could be high competition.
Oh, no, it's not competition. Yeah. The biggest problem that I've seen is developers. There's only 10 blockchain developers or something. There's 100,000 companies. Yeah. So most people are getting hacked left and right because they're just copying, pasting Ethereum scripts. They don't know what they do. Just copy and paste it because they don't have a blockchain developer. So one of the big advantages of our platform is our scripting language CX is really easy to learn. Like a college student can start producing blockchain applications in a few hours. And so the company doesn't have to go hire like a Solidity developer for $500 an hour who just copies and pastes the script from GitHub and then they get hacked for $20 million.
That's why your script is different. That was a purpose?
That was the purpose, yeah.
There was some other reasons.
There are a lot of reasons. Everything is
the main.
Yeah.
The main reason is that.
So one of the interesting things is when we started, it was just Skycoin, and we built up this community, 5,000 people. Then when we had a new coin launch, they would market against the Skycoin audience, and these guys in the community would invest in this ICO and that ICO. Then now we have 20 different coins, so they all do cross promotion and they promote each other in each other's channel. So it's not
supporting each other.
Yeah. So one coin, when you launch your coin on Skyledger, you now are marketing to a community of almost 100,000 people. And then you get 5,000 investors or 4,000 investors on day one. Even before the pre-ICO started, they already have like 20 people trying to, I want 10 Bitcoin, I want 5 Bitcoin, I want 6 Bitcoin. And these companies were so used to all this money flooding in that they were just spending it recklessly. And then, oh my God, our ICO dried up. And oh my God, because you all these people get this interest and here's 5 Bitcoin, here's 4 Bitcoin, here's 4. And it's like, oh, it's really easy to raise $10 million. You just ask and they just throw money at you. But then they realize that the real world isn't like that.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Yeah, that was an awesome talk. Really appreciate for your presence here. Thank you, William. Thank you, Sense. That was awesome talk. I hope that we can have you more and more in our studio for your new companies or new products.
Yeah, it'd be great. Maybe if we're a media partner and stuff.
Well, this is your call.
You should come down to you should do a tour of the hardware accelerator.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
with the robots and the. Cool.
Where is it?
It's in Shanghai.
Oh, it's Shanghai.
Two offices in Shanghai.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So we would love to interview your companies, talking to them and asking what they are doing, also about their product, the service that they are providing, and how they come up with a Skycoin and how they want to give or serve others in your communities.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thanks so much.
Yes. Thank you.
Have a great day, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.